Kyle, tell them how long you played in the NFL.
Yeah, so my name's Kyle Auffray. I was an NFL player for 4 years, over 4 teams, in and out of teams and practice squads and camps, and did that whole deal.
How'd you stay super disciplined, ultra healthy, and consistently outpacing others?
For me, it was always having goals, writing them down. I had always had goals on my mirror every morning, and I still do to this day. Every morning when I wake up, I have goals that I want to focus on daily, short-term, long-term, and just remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing every single day, and that's kind of been a big key for me in the success world.
What do you invest in? What business holdings do you focus your energy on?
So right now, I'm mostly investing in myself and our fund. So I'm a principal in Champion Venture Partners. We are a sports asset class private equity fund. Marcus is one of the co-founders. You guys will hear from Marcus in a second, but that's our main focus right now. I pretty much like to invest in myself and what I believe in and what I'm doing, and right now that's the sports asset class.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I can. We only got a few more minutes here, but so we launched a sports asset class fund in beginning of this year. We are finishing up a raise right now for our $100 million founders. It's Class A preferred share in our fund. In January, we've already filed with the SEC to roll into an interval fund, and we are sports asset focused. So investing into sports teams, sports leagues, ownership in major sports, minor sports, women's sports, and the whole sports ecosystem. So sports adjacent properties like sports medicine, sports media, sports technology across the board. So that's the thesis of our fund, and our background of everyone in our fund is mostly former athletes who also have a background in finance and venture capital and private equity.
What visualization, affirmation, and goal-setting rituals and strategies do you use to be a top 0.1 percenter?
So one quote that I have a quote in my office that I really love, and it is, you won't always rise to the level of your goals, but you'll always fall to the level of your standards. And so for me—
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
that's really good.
You don't always rise to the level of your goals, but you'll always fall to the level of your standards. So even throughout my sports career, it was always about, when you go from high school to college, like the standard as an athlete, right? A student athlete raises. When you go from college to a pro, the standard raises. Well, the same thing is in business for me. So when I came out of sports, all right, getting my hands into business, I was new. I didn't know what I was doing. I learned, and then when I learn and I grow, then I raise my standard to take the next step up. So for the last 4 years, I've been running the venture capital arm for Comcast Sports Tech out of Atlanta. They have a sports venture arm, but I was running that as somewhat of a managing director role of that program, and I was like, I love doing this. This is great, but I want to have something bigger, something better, something a little bit where I can even raise my standard. And so that was where this role with Champion Venture came in. So for me, it's always about raising my standard, which, rising tide raises all ships. It'll raise the standards of the people around me. So
nice. What's a $1 million lesson that you've learned from being a pro athlete?
From being a pro athlete, $1 million lesson I learned would be your network is your net worth. I know some athletes make a lot of money, some don't. Most don't, right? 96 or 98% of athletes don't make $1 million in their career. But in my 4 years of playing, I was a minimum wage, I say that, in the NFL, minimum wage right now is like $800,000 a year. So as a minimum wage guy, as a practice squad guy, camp guy, for me, it was always about networking, meeting people along the way. And I wasn't on the field. I wasn't the Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Brady's that we all know. I wasn't the face of any organization. But I'm at the point in my career where I built such a big network because of my playing career that I'm where I am today from people. Jameel Northcutt's in this room. Quick story: I played 2014. I was with the Cleveland Browns as a player. I was only there for 2 months. Jameel Northcutt, who's here right now, he was the director of player engagement for the team now. Forward 8 years now, we're working together in the same fund, right? So the network that you build as an athlete, as an athlete is your net worth, that when you're done playing is something that you should really capitalize on. That's what I would say.
What is the most costly financial mistake that you've made or you see other pro athletes make?
I would say not investing in themselves. And when it comes specifically to athletes, it's not investing in their bodies. I know the guy from Utopia was here earlier talking about, your health and all that. I think a lot of athletes in today's world, I think it's getting better, but they don't really take the best care of their bodies, and their body is their career, right? So their body, when they don't really, in high school, they're eating fast food and whatever, maybe working out, maybe not. College, it gets a little bit more serious, but that you still have they like to party, they like to drink, they like to go out, like that whole culture around athletes. I think they're missing an opportunity to take their physical skills and their game to the next level, and they're holding themselves back by how they actually treat and take care of their body. So my career fell short because I dealt with injuries. I dealt with back injuries that I didn't take in high school, and in my earlier years of college, I didn't take weightlifting as seriously as some of the others. I was a quarterback, so I didn't lift like the others. And then when I switched to tight end and I'm hitting and running and all that, my body wasn't physically ready for that. So I would say as an athlete, the $1 million lesson would be to take better care of your body.
Nice. Real quick, if somebody wants to be a top 1% in their field and they want to compete everybody around them, what would you recommend?
Go back to what I said before, is raise your standards. Raise your standards for yourself, your habits, your lifestyle choices, your daily routine. I would say make fitness and your health and fitness a priority, because the thoughts and ideas and beliefs and dreams you have in your mind only come to life through your body and how you bring that into the world. So I would say that taking care of your body and making sure that you show up with your best performance and your best mindset and your best health and your best attitude for every day would be the way to go.
And one last question, because that was your buzzer. What separates your fund from other people's funds?
So our fund at Champion Venture Fund, we are sports asset class. So how many of people here are real estate? I know we had that question earlier. Real estate people? How many in here also own or invest real estate? Pretty much everybody. How many people own a sports team? How many people would be interested in owning sports teams, right? Or having equity in a sports team or league, right? There's a lot of people. If your hand's raised, come see me after. But what our fund does differently is we have access as former athletes, front office executives of sports teams and leagues. We have access to sports properties, to sports investments, to team ownership. We just saw the NFL come out with the private equity. We are not one of the approved funds yet, but we're hoping to be in the next few years, because we just launched. But we have deals right now on the table where we could buy into ownership stakes, large ownership stakes of European soccer clubs, women's sports teams here in the US, emerging leagues, and expansion teams for major 5 sports in the US. So we're doing something that a lot of other funds don't specialize on or focus on, and that's what our big differentiator is. So,
thanks, Cal.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Give him a round of applause, guys.